My name is Ruth Johnson from Transportation Riders United. I first want to thank the NAACP Detroit Branch and especially Al for inviting me and my sisters in transit to provide information, but more importantly, provide you with information so you can take action. As you might know, and maybe just by show of hands, have you ever heard of True Transportation Riders United? Okay. I don't want to spend a lot of time on us, other than talking about our positions and where you can get information. One of the ways you can get more information about our positions, how to engage, how to take action, is to visit our website, www.detroittransit.org. I also have a sheet in which if you want to subscribe to our weekly newsletter, or otherwise get involved with what we're doing, I'd be happy to take your information. And then my colleagues are here, and I'd be happy to have you talk to them. I have some engagement pieces, but what I would like to do is just sort of add to what has already been said. From a true perspective, we work primarily through coalitions. We work very closely with Moses, Michigan Suburbs Alliance, the Sierra Club, other community partners, faith-based organizations, business organizations, and with our union brothers and sisters. True's mission is to improve and promote public transit in this region, and we've been doing this for over 12 years. So we know what was tried before and worked and didn't work, and the old games, the old tricks, because there are no new games and new tricks, really. We basically look at the problems with having a well-balanced, well-coordinated, well-funded transportation system for this region is really two things: lack of political will, lack of public will. Everything falls within that. We would have dedicated funding if we had the political will and the public will. And you can look at some of the historic reasons of why we don't have good regionalism, even outside of transit. Racial segregation, social economic segregation, fear-mongering, that a lot of our politicians can get elected and reelected by division. And so when we come to transit, we've had lots of planning, alternative analysis. We've got lots of projects being projected, and I can touch upon some of the status from True perspective of some of those projects and plans. But again, it's going to take us, the people in this room, the other people in our communities, to apply pressure to the transit decision makers to make it go beyond plans and projects on paper into real transit that serves the needs of people now and in the future, whether we're talking residents, visitors, businesses, kids, seniors, people with disability. We want a transportation system that works for people. That means walking, safe walking, so sidewalks that you can actually use, that are lit, not damaged. We need good paratransit for the people with disability, and as our population ages, we've got to think about how to encourage and ensure that all members of our community, regardless of age or ability, can be full participants. We need to look at, of course, even the condition of our roads and streets and highways, because although not 30% of people in our community do not have access to a personal vehicle, many of us still drive, as well as our buses and other forms of public transit need good roads. But it's also looking at making sure we have real rapid transit. Tiffany talked about some of the things with rapid transit, such as signal prioritization, dedicated lanes, frequent runs, and things like that. But we sometimes do the Pinto version and call it a Cadillac. So we've got to make sure it is truly real rapid transit. That would include light rail, passenger rail, bus rapid transit. And it's not an either or, it's an and. We need it all. We need, again, a well-coordinated system that works together, not separate passes, not different transfers. Only you can be picked up on Woodward if you stand on your left foot before this time and right foot on that. I'm being a little facetious, but that does not make sense to me. I have 3 to 4 different passes. I've got a people mover pass. I have a DDOT pass. I have a DDOT and a Smart Pass. And it's hard for me, even though this is my full-time job in avocation, to sometimes keep some of these policies and transfers and things straight. Don't want to spend a lot of time on the past. Let's talk more about what's going on currently. With the M1 project, as you heard, it started as DTOGS, Detroit Transportation Alternative, something, I can't remember what it means. Then it became light rail. We supported light rail because we felt it was the first step of real rapid transit on Woodward. We had some reservations, and we, True did do public comments and encouraged others to do public comment, but we are concerned about now that it's morphed into a streetcar project, as we understand it. One, is shorter. It doesn't go to 8 Mile. It only goes to New Center, and we're concerned that by not going into the North End community, you're not picking up a vibrant neighborhood, vibrant activities, places of worship that could be connected. We also think it's important to coordinate with existing transit services, whether it's Amtrak, DDOT, and SMART, and also make sure there is not preference for the new and the sexy, but we make sure that SMART and DDOT buses continue to have access and run regularly, and not see it as everybody's going to be riding the streetcar system. I do encourage you to visit the Woodward Rail website and get more information, as well as we have information on our website. As far as the Woodward alternative analysis, again, we think it's a great idea, as well as there's also been a series of public meetings on the Woodward Complete Streets. Complete Streets is just a design term looking at how to make sure, as we either design or refurbish an intersection or a street, that is for all users of all abilities. So it looks at crosswalks, it looks at even transit-oriented development. We should not look at transit in isolation. We should look at it as how is it helping people have better lives, better quality life, access to educational opportunities, employment opportunities, cultural opportunities. Transportation should not be just seen as those who don't have a car or those who need to get to medical appointment. It's for all of us who would like to use it, have the option to use it, not just for those who have no other options. As far as DDOT, some of you may know about our report cards where we have graded DDOT on their timeliness and customer service. We are supportive of DDOT, work very closely with TRIA and Mr. Ron Freeland, and they have some great people at DDOT with the drivers and the mechanics. But one of the reasons you use public transit is to get someplace on time. And right now that is a concern because a third of the time, you don't know if you're going to get there. However, one of the problems is the lack of funding. And so for that reason, we feel that it's important, and we have this gray flyer, to tell Mr. Kevin Orr to continue to fund DDOT at a level where they will not have to make any further service cuts. In the last 10 years, the city has cut half of DDOT service. So even if they're on time, the level of service is such that there are longer commute times, longer waits, longer periods when you're waiting to transfer to another bus, or some areas are just not well served. So I'd encourage you to pick this up, and soon we'll have this on our website. Also, as far as the RTA, we're thrilled that it passed, but we're about 75% happy with it. There's some great things about it, such as no opt-outs, that the RTA board has the statutory authority to get funding. But with that, we think it's important to make sure we continue to preserve and improve existing transit services and not go in favor of the new things that are being projected. Again, we think that's great. Bus rapid transit, light rail, streetcar, whatever is going to go forth. But it's important that we continue to fund DDOT, SMART, People Mover, and other transit services in the four-county area. Also with the RTA, we were not pleased that it was not mode neutral. When I say mode neutral, that there has to be a higher vote, a supermajority, in order to include the Woodward streetcar project or other types of passenger rail. We believe that the RTA should have authority to coordinate all current or future transit services, make decisions about current and future funding, such as the funding formula used to split the federal money, it's capital money, coming from the federal government, and some of you might have heard about that. Two took the position not so much on the formula, but who should make the decision and how that decision should be made. We feel with the enactment of the RTA, that should have been done by the RTA rather than SIMCOG. In a small group, closed pretty much, well, let's say this, it's not a fully open process like an RTA would be in terms of people knowing about it, though I have to give Triad and other people credit for making sure that the people did know, and our friends in the media also did a good job of that. But there's a confluence of events. So we had the passage of the RTA, so that changed things. But also before that, there had been a Regional Transit Coordinating Council. There are so many abbreviations, I can't even keep some of this straight. But what that meant, it was by population level. And once Detroit's population level dropped, the RTCC, that had been responsible for divvying up the money between DDOT and SMART, went away. That was even before the passage of the RTA. With the passage of the RTA, that meant that all federal funds would come into the RTA, but not starting until October 1st of this year. So Governor Snyder designated SIMCOG as the entity during this interim period. And also, as the MPO for this region, FTA asked them to do some planning, which is a proper thing for them to do. However, be very clear, they did not have to change the funding formula. They could have said, we will defer to October 1st and allow the entity that was created to make these decisions to make such an important decision. And more importantly, decide what the criteria will be for dividing up funding. That's going to be very important, ladies and gentlemen, how those decisions are made and who makes them. And we need to stay on top of that because we've got federal money coming in, state money coming in, their fare box revenue. If something's on the ballot, honey, it is about the money, and it will always be about the money. Always. Always. So let me talk a little bit of what we're doing to make sure that people know the importance of the funding issue. We have a survey, the green sheet, get it, green money, I'm not subtle. And we're going to go around with my colleagues and volunteers working with partner organizations, asking people in the 4 counties, Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, and Washtenaw counties, what transit improvements would you like to see? But there's a key question here. There's a box saying, yes, I am willing to pay $20 to $40 more per year in taxes to fund these improvements. Now, it's very good for people to say, yes, we need better transit, but we need to also say, yes, we're willing to pay for it. And once we do that, we will present these to the Regional Transit Authority Board in the fall and let them know this is what the people want. We want to get surveys completed by riders, non-riders, city, suburb, black, white, differently abled, all people over the age of 18. So I'll invite you to help us get the voice of the people represented through these surveys. But we also feel it's important for the voice of the people to engage their transit decision makers directly. So I do encourage you to go to the SIMCOG website, find out where the meetings are, and get involved that way. On the state level, I have a blue sheet from the Michigan Environmental Council talking about some of the strange and interesting legislative attempts to try to undermine the power of the Regional Transit Authority. GM is trying to exclude their test vehicles. We don't know how many would be subject to this, but we feel any special treatment or carve-outs will undermine the power and the effectiveness of the RTA. And then there's also a legislator who feels, let's go back to the old way and have each community opt out. If you're going to have a regional transit system, we cannot have opt-outs. Whether you use it or not, everybody should pay in the region because everyone benefits, and you should be able to go and use transit, and it should go through any community. So again, my name is Ruth Johnson, and visit our website, get informed, get involved, and again, I thank you for this opportunity.